on an all-new Dr. Phil.
I don't like my nose, my lips.
You say you look like a monster.
What is going on
I just feel gross.
with the women in this family?
I had anorexia.
Do you think you've modeled this for these two?
Plus, Game of Thrones' Sophie Turner's own battle with body image.
I used to get a lot of comments about my weight. I have a big nose. I just got very self-conscious. I felt very alone.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. I'm here early in my makeup chair, getting ready for my first show of the day. After getting made up, which takes about 5 to 10 minutes, then I get dressed, which takes about 2 minutes, and then about 1 minute to walk over to the stage. But my guest today says she spends an average of 2 hours in the morning applying several layers of makeup just so she feels safe enough to leave her home and face the world that day. And sometimes she doesn't even leave the house. She reached out to me for help, and I'm going to talk to her shortly. We'll see you all very soon. All right, take a look. This is Molly. Now, I'm sure many people find her attractive. Would you agree? An attractive young woman. Well, what if I told you that she believes that her nose area is ugly and that her chin is just horrible? She says she hates her teeth. She feels like her stomach, which she hides by draping it, is unattractive. And she says that she has man hands. So you can see that she hides those as well. Now, she also believes that her skin is too pale, so she has to tan about 3 times a week. She also told my staff that she looks like a monster. That's what she sees when she looks in the mirror. Take a look.
To say the least, I'm obsessed with the way I look. It just runs my entire life. People tell me I'm beautiful, and I just don't believe them.
I tell Molly all the time, girls would die to look like you.
When I look at people like J-Lo or Carrie Underwood, they are perfection. I don't like my nose, I don't like my lips, I don't like my smile, I hate my teeth. One time I tried to file them down with a nail file. It was pretty painful. There's really not one part of my body that I like. In order to deal with what I don't like about my face, I just wear makeup all the time. I usually take about 4 hours to get ready every day. I have a really specific routine that I do. I do my foundation, I contour a little bit, I do my eyes, I do lipstick, lip liner, bronzer, blush, highlight, eyeshadow, mascara, eyeliner, eyebrows. I don't think my fiance's ever seen me without makeup.
If Molly does not think she looks great, she's not leaving the house. Trust me.
Mike always says, all I care about is what I look like. We both get frustrated. I get pretty crabby if I'm rushed doing my makeup.
I'm sitting here waiting on Molly. She's already taken 2 hours to get ready. If Molly's getting ready and I tell her, hurry up, we have to go, we're running late, she will absolutely bite my head off.
Sometimes I just can't even go outside because I really don't like the way I look and I just can't bring myself to leave the house. If I did go outside before I was completely ready, I would feel like people think I'm hideous.
I feel she's absolutely beautiful. I don't understand the obsession.
The way I look has definitely taken over my life. I really need Dr. Phil's help.
Okay, now, a lot of people might look at you and say, oh, come on, get over yourself. But I recognize that this isn't a way for you to fish for compliments or whatever, that this is a very serious, debilitating thing for you. It's disrupting your life, right?
Absolutely.
So this is something that's in your head. It's not something that's just kind of you being superficial about wanting to look perfect.
Right, absolutely.
And I hope people realize that it runs much deeper than just can't find the perfect dress.
Yeah.
This morning, you went through all of these dresses.
Yes.
And she'll do that kind of thing at home, right?
Yeah.
And so you sit there
Just wait and
waiting.
and I really, there's nothing else I can do. If I tell her to, you know, we have to go, we have to hurry up, it's a fight.
And do you ever get satisfied, or do you just finally compromise and say, hell, I gotta go?
No, I'm never satisfied.
Like you picked a dress this morning, right?
I did.
And the dress you picked was this one.
Yes.
That's not what you
Originally,
have on.
I changed my mind.
So you changed your mind after you picked this one.
Yes.
Take me through that moment when you've made a choice, but you're not satisfied. What conversation do you have in your head?
Well, specifically today, I felt like it made my stomach look big, and like my shoulders looked really broad, and I just didn't feel very pretty in it.
Okay, now let's assume that that's right. I'm going to go with you for a minute. Let's assume that that makes your stomach look big and your shoulders look broad. Do you fear judgment?
Yes, I mean, I definitely care what people think.
So you think people are going to look at you and say what?
I definitely fear that they're going to think that I'm ugly.
How many of you would agree that when you go out, you want to put your best foot forward, you try to look your best when you go out? Raise your hand. Okay, look around. Keep them up, keep them up. Okay, everybody does that. And how many of you feel like when you go out, day in, day out, you do look your absolute best every day that you go out? Raise your hand. Okay, so everybody wants to look their best, and nobody feels like they do. How many of you take 3 hours or 4 hours to get ready to go out? Raise your hand. Okay, so that's where the breakdown is. That's what sets you apart. This is your self-image. You say you have a big nose, your face looks bad, you have an ugly smile, your hair does not lay properly. Had to bring hair into it, didn't you? You have man hands, you're just not good enough, and that you look like a monster. So when you look in the mirror, this is your self-assessment. And you have rules about what you have to do before you go out. Like you do your chores first, then makeup before leaving, and Mike only sees you with your makeup, right?
Yes.
So you sleep in your makeup.
Yeah. I wash my face in the morning, not at night,
Okay.
after he leaves.
And you go to the gym once or twice a day, and you tan 3 times a week, no smiling in photos. Okay. You must eat healthy. You wear your makeup to bed so he doesn't see you. So you're living behind a mask, behind a facade the whole time. Isn't that a lot of pressure? Molly isn't the only one in the family who devotes her day to obsessing over her appearance. Is that because it's genetic? Has it been learned? Is this something that just kind of goes with this family? We're going to talk about that when we come back, and we are going to get to the bottom of this, and we'll be right back.
My sister thinks she looks like a monster, but people refer to us as twins all the time, so if she believes that she's a monster, then so am I. My issue tends to be more with my body weight. I won't go out on dates because of the shape that I'm in.
Tomorrow.
My brother lives at my mom's house in the same bedroom he lived in high school.
He's 45 years old.
His family claims he's lazy.
You came out of retirement instead of him working.
And a mooch.
You'll let him use your car.
Yeah, he actually wrecked it.
But he says he has a plan.
I'm going to go work at a dispensary.
A marijuana dispensary?
Yes.
So you're going to wait for Missouri to change their laws?
That's tomorrow. Then, on Thursday, he rescued his daughter.
He saved my life.
But now,
I think I'm dependent on my dad.
She sleeps all day. She's irresponsible because you make that possible.
that's Thursday.
I have an older sister, Ashley. She's 4 years older than me. She definitely has her own issues. I focus on my face more, and I think she struggles more with her body. Even as a little kid, I feel like I always thought like Ashley was the pretty one, and I felt like the ugly duckling. I can't. And well,
that was Molly's older sister, Ashley, who seems to be very emotional about the topic. Now, Ashley agreed to come to the show to get help for Molly so she would stop being so obsessed with her appearance. However, when producers spoke with Ashley, she explained that she was a bit uncomfortable appearing on television because she might look too fat. That's when we learn more about Ashley's struggles. Take a look.
I am concerned for my sister Molly. My sister thinks she looks like a monster, but she's absolutely beautiful. She just can't seem to face anyone because she can't stand the sight of her own face. People refer to us as twins all the time, so if she believes that she's a monster, then so am I. Molly has more issues with her jawline, her cheekbone. She hates her nose, her lips. My issue tends to be more with my body weight. The scale does make me anxious. When I see the scale, I think numbers and weight and fat. I don't like to be more than about 115 pounds. After eating pizza or pasta, I feel like I can see it immediately all over my body, my face, my cheeks get fuller. My internal voice is always saying there's too much fat in your waist, your thighs are getting a little big. I try dealing with my issues by going to the gym 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'd like more of a thigh gap. They shouldn't ever be near touching. I'm a perfectionist. It's never enough. Being obsessed with my weight has definitely had an effect on me. If I make plans to go out with my girlfriends, I have to go to the gym before we go out. Otherwise, I will not end up going out. I just feel gross. I don't feel like that I'm skinny enough. I won't go out on dates because of the shape that I'm in. I hope Dr. Phil can help me so that my obsession with working out and looking a certain way doesn't control my life.
Okay, so you two actually share some of these issues, right?
Yeah, I don't think mine's to the extent that hers is. I can still leave the house. I can still function.
When did you notice this about your sister?
I mean, I know she's always been insecure about her appearance, her looks. I've just noticed it, getting significantly worse, especially the past few months.
Is that true?
Yeah.
You think you're withdrawing some?
For sure.
And what's causing that to happen now instead of 5 years ago?
I really don't know. It just seems to be getting worse. Like, the older I get, it seems like it's gotten worse and worse and worse.
What's your best quality?
I think that I'm a very caring person.
So you think you do care? Would you agree?
I agree.
You think she's caring?
She's caring. She's a great mom. She's really big heart. She's genuine.
Well, Molly's mom, Judy, says she also has struggled with body image issues. So 1, 2, 3, we're going to hear from her next. It seems to be there's a pattern forming here. We'll be right back.
I know their struggles with self-image all too well. I became anorexic and I battled it for a number of years. My weight was 75 pounds. I'm not sure if there's a connection between what I went through and what my daughters, Molly and Ashley, are going through.
Middle school is when I really started trying to do things to look different.
She would put on so much makeup that we would joke and refer to her as an Oompa Loompa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. She wore so much makeup on her face that her face was actually orange.
Yeah, I just don't feel good about myself.
I'm very concerned that her issues getting more and more intense and that it's consuming her life and affecting her daily activities.
Now, Molly told producers that weight and appearance was always a huge issue for their mom, Judy, who once suffered with severe anorexia. So let's hear that piece of the puzzle.
I'm concerned for both of my daughters, Molly and Ashley. I know their struggles with self-image all too well. Many years ago, I had a gentleman compliment me on the weight that I'd lost. I told him I'd lost 8 pounds, and he said, why stop there? That comment triggered for me what was to become a very serious eating disorder. I became anorexic, and I battled it for a number of years. My life just kind of spiraled out of control, and no one seemed to know it. I could never be thin enough. My weight was 75 pounds. What really saved me was getting pregnant and having a child, and then it changed. I always told my oldest daughter she saved my life because there was something much more important than myself. I'm not sure if there's a connection between what I went through and what my daughters, Molly and Ashley, are going through. I'm very concerned that if it's not addressed, it will spiral out of control.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Do you think you've modeled this for these two?
I certainly hope not. I honestly don't think so, though. I really try to focus on their inner and outer beauty. I did make them aware at certain ages, but not too early, that I had this issue because I never wanted them to have anorexia.
And that was not something that you were so obsessed with that it became what you taught them to focus on in life.
Absolutely.
So we can rule that out. But if we look at the generational timeline, in 1974, you were age 18 and you weighed 115 pounds before losing 40 pounds. And you say anorexia triggered while you were isolated in Italy.
Yes.
Okay, and then in 76, you're age 20, you're now 99 pounds, and you gain weight after returning home from Italy. And then in 02, Molly, you're 11 years old, and you're refusing to have photos taken without approval. Age 12, you're plucking hairs to make your forehead look bigger.
Well, it's because I had little baby hairs that I didn't like.
At 13, you wear makeup to school, your hair's highlighted, you refuse to show your teeth in photos. And you're being very careful to not show them here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point at where you actually filed your teeth.
Yeah.
Because you thought they were too pointy.
My eye teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Didn't
I don't
that,
recommend it.
Didn't that hurt a lot?
Yeah.
And you think you have body dysmorphia?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I hope it's not really what I see is real.
Well, yeah, I'm not big into labels. I think they can really kind of restrict us.
I agree.
But if we were using labels, that would not be one that I would place on you. That describes someone that there's a preoccupation with perceived defects or flaws in physical appearance. There are repetitive behaviors, mirror checking, excessive grooming, skin picking, reassurance seeking, repetitive mental acts, comparing appearance with others. But the primary thing that sets this apart from you is with body dysmorphia, there's almost always a focus on one particular thing. You don't like your nose, you don't like your teeth, you don't like your chin, you don't like your stomach,
you don't like those things.
So you don't
but
like
I focus
anything.
On, I think, one thing at a time. Like it used to be my teeth. Lately, I think it's been my nose. Yeah.
Then why won't you smile?
Because I don't like that either, but that's not my focus right this
Okay, then why did you go through 9 dresses?
Because it made my nose look bad. No, I'm just kidding.
I asked a question early on. I'm going to go back to that question, and we're going to talk about that next. A lot of what you're doing ritualistically would very likely be considered obsessive-compulsive. Mm-hmm. Obsessive in thought and compulsive in behavior. And your day's very regimented.
Yeah.
And if you disrupt that, and you just had to just get up and throw something on and leave, instead of going through the rituals that you go through, your anxiety level would go way up. Mm-hmm. I asked you a question early on. I said, when you go out and you fear judgment, I said, what do you say to yourself? And you said, I don't know. And I want to explain to you what we're talking about here is you're having a conversation with yourself as internal dialogue. When we think things so much for so long, we get into something that I refer to as automatic thoughts. Mm-hmm. We talk at 125 words a minute, but we think at 12 to 1,400 words a minute. So what you have to do is you have to sit down and unpack my automatic thoughts. I'm going to write them down, and I'm going to figure out what is it I'm saying to myself. And then challenge it and say, is this accurate? Does this fit reality? And if it doesn't, can I generate an alternative to it that is authentic. This kind of thing can affect people that you just would never think. Well, I did an interview recently, and I want to share that with you. This is a rare and candid conversation with the Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner. And she reveals how she worked through her own body image issues, just like you're talking about. I'm going to play that conversation for you right after the break. Did social media cause you to get depressed?
I think it definitely was a bit of a catalyst.
What would people say that bothered you?
I used to get a lot of comments about my skin and my weight and how I wasn't a good actress. And
what would you say to yourself about that?
I would just believe it.
You know, someone like you can save thousands of lives because of what you've said.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. He lives at his mom's.
He's 45.
And has no job.
I'm going to go work at a dispensary.
A marijuana dispensary?
Yes.
So you're going to wait for Missouri to change their laws?
That's tomorrow.
Now, sometimes my viewers need a little help when it comes to learning how to subscribe to my new podcast, Fill in the Blanks. I'm having a blast with the podcast because I get to interview various friends, newsmakers, celebrities in a casual setting where we talk about a wide range of topics. And the conversations are always incredibly candid and very personal. For example, I had the pleasure of talking to actor Sophie Turner, who you all know as Sansa Stark on the hit HBO series Game of Thrones. She recently sat down with me on my podcast series, Fill in the Blanks. You can listen to Sophie and I discuss everything from Game of Thrones to the realities of what it was like to be in front of the camera at a very young age. I find you really fascinating. I want to know everything about you.
I'm really excited to be here.
Why are you excited?
Because I'm a huge fan of your show.
Do you watch the show?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah?
Joe will tell you, like when I'm doing my makeup, when I wake up in the morning, basically anytime I have spare, I watch your show.
Are you like a mental health advocate? Do you like that kind of stuff?
I do. Since I was like really young, we've had a whole mental health thing in my family. What I like about your show is how you don't sugarcoat anything and you do it for the benefit of the person that you're talking to. You say that it's been an issue in your family. Was it like in your immediate family, or is this a generational thing? No, it's my immediate family and myself as well. Yeah. I've suffered with depression for about 5 or 6 years now. So what's been your biggest challenge? The biggest challenge is just for me getting out of bed and getting out of the house. You're 22, right? Yeah. I really don't think I had any issues with it up until I was around 17. And then it all of a sudden just kind of hit me. Is there anything that caused it that you can think of? My friends were all going to university and I was working, but I was still living at my parents' house, and so there was like, I felt very alone. By now, you're 17, so you're 4 years on Game of Thrones. Yeah. Before you start getting depressed? It only started to kind of go downhill, I think, when I started to like hit puberty and I was gaining weight, and then there was like the social media scrutiny and everything. That was when it kind of hit me. Did social media cause you to get depressed? I think it definitely was a bit of a catalyst. You see 10 great comments and you ignore them, but one negative comment and it just like throws you off. What would people say that bothered you? The character that I play on my show is called Sansa, and people used to write like, oh, damn, Sansa gained 10 pounds, or Sansa needs to lose 10 pounds. Oh, really? Yeah. It was just a lot of weight comments. Or I would have like spotty skin because I was a teenager, and that's normal, and I used to get a lot of comments about my skin and my weight and how I wasn't a good actress. And that bothered you? Yeah. And what would you say to yourself about that? I would just believe it. I would just say, yeah, I am spotty, I am fat, I am a bad actress, and I just believed it. So you would go to work the next day. How would that affect you when you went to do your scenes the next day? Well, I'd get them to tighten my corset a lot. I'd be make it tighter, make it tighter. You got a foot in your back pulling? Yeah, like pulling. I just got very, very self-conscious. I would be concerned about angles, I'd be concerned about my face. I have like a big nose, and so I would be like, I don't know how to angle myself, and it would just affect me creatively. And I couldn't be true to the character because I was so worried about Sophie.
And when you say depressed, how did that express for you?
I had no motivation to do anything or go out, or even with like my best friends, I wouldn't want to see them. I have a friend, Maisie, who was on the show with me, and she's just a year younger than me, and she and I were growing up together, and she was my best friend, and so she was the only one that I really told about all of it.
And when there were breaks, would you stay inside, stay in your room, stay in bed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would. Maisie and I used to do it together. We were, I think, being friends with each other was quite destructive because we were going through the same thing, and so we used to get home from set, go to a little supermarket across the road and just buy food and go back to our room and just eat it in bed, and we never socialized for a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't socialize with anyone but ourselves.
Yeah, and it never occurred to you that 99% of the girls in the world would love to be you?
I count myself as very lucky for that, but I don't think I viewed myself as worthy of anything that I was doing.
How do you do in your relationship?
Good, I think. I think we're good. What do you think, Joe?
Confident.
Around you?
Yeah.
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 I won't be judged by him. He's seen the worst.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've seen the worst, and it was horrible, wasn't it, Joe? Yeah.
When someone tells you they love you every day, it makes you really think about why that is, and I think it makes you love yourself a bit more. So, yeah, I love myself.
Yeah. You know, someone like you that is an absolute icon to your generation, that is transparent about mental health issues, can save thousands of lives in America this year.
That is absolutely what I hope to be like, to just speak about it and be transparent about it. That's the payoff that I would like, is for people to not feel so alone and feel encouraged to talk to someone about it.
Think about how many girls, 8th or 9th grade, parents go in their room and find that they've hung themselves in their closet because they've been bullied on social media.
Yeah.
And think about how many girls won't do that because of what you've said. How many parents will open that door and their girl will be sitting on their bed instead of hanging in the closet because of what you've said?
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be the truth. When we post this up, we're going to put the number for suicide hotline.
Yeah.
I will get you the statistics of the baseline number of calls they have before this is posted and the number of calls they have after it's posted.
That would be amazing.
I predict it will go up at least 200% and never come back to baseline. That's how powerful what you're doing can be. That's what I call creating meaning to suffering.
I mean, if that happens, my God, I'll just talk about it all the time.
Well, I'm serious. That's powerful. You know, you heard Sophie talking about this internal dialogue, what she was saying to herself. She would hear people say, you know, she's gained weight, she has spotty skin, she's not a good actress. So she might hear it once, but then repeat it 10 times for every time she heard it said. And that becomes the internal dialogue that drives the way she feels. More with my interview with Sophie Turner when we come back.
I'm fascinated with crime.
I've spent a lot of my career working in and developing techniques for deception detection.
Have you detected anything on me?
I think you've been very, very open.
I think I've spilled my guts.
They're coming.
Well, that was a sneak peek at the final season of Game of Thrones. I had the opportunity to interview actor Sophie Turner, who plays Sansa Stark, for my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. Now, this brand new episode has just dropped, and you do not want to miss it. Here's a preview of that conversation. So what's next for you?
What's next? Well, I actually am still on my break. I took a break off of work to focus on my mental health because I thought it was important. So I'm still on that, and I'm just about to go into press for the final season of Game of Thrones and a movie, Dark Phoenix, that I did. The latest X-Men is coming out in June, so I'm getting ready for a big press tour for that.
I mean, you're in the biggest shows, biggest movies, biggest everything there is, and you're 22.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
It is quite amazing.
Yeah. So you're so interested in psychology. Do you have a philosophy?
No, I need to learn more to have a philosophy, but I'm just really passionate about it, especially as like an actor as well. I think it only informs your acting. I'm just fascinated in the study of like why people are the way they are, why people are depressed, why people schizophrenic, why, like all of those kind of things. I'm just really interested in it, and I want to know everything.
Think about what an edge you have in life if you understand that. Why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do.
Yeah.
I try to get people to understand life's about choices, and what they don't get is you cannot not choose. What do you hope to do next?
I want to do a lot of things, and not just in the film world. At the moment, I have like a real urge to go to the police academy and just become a cop.
What's your fascination with that?
I'm fascinated with crime and why people do things, and the interrogation process, and how you can manipulate your words in order to get someone to confess. That's something that really interests me.
Have I got a couple of books for you to read?
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. I've spent a lot of my career working in and developing techniques for deception detection.
Oh, I know. You always foil people on the show.
Yeah. There are things that are very reliable on deception detection. That's one thing. But then another thing is getting to the truth.
I would love to find out about that. Have you detected anything on me?
I think you've been very open.
I have been.
I think you've been very, very open.
I think I've spilled my guts.
Don't come in.
Well done, that's amazing.
Great, wasn't she? As you see, she's talking about actually taking a break and working on mental health. And sometimes we have to put this on what I call project status. If you want to change something that's controlling your life, you have to put it on project status. You can check out the full podcast interview with Sophie that is available on Fill in the Blanks now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, just go to your podcast icon on your smartphone, search for Fill in the Blanks. Plus, I'm going to talk more with Molly about how she can begin to work by putting herself on project status right after the break. Well, Molly, I hope you can see why I wanted you to see that conversation.
Yes.
Because nobody's immune from this. And it doesn't matter how successful you are, it doesn't matter how much adulation you have. You know, here's someone that is probably one of the most popular, successful actors in the world. And still, her internal dialogue, you know, she has cyber bullies on the internet picking on her. She takes over for the bullies and starts saying those things to herself. And that's why I said to you, you have to know what you're saying to yourself. Because if you don't know what you're saying to yourself, then you can't fight off the #1 bully in your life, which is you. We have this standard in this day and time where particularly women compare themselves to the images that you see in magazines and billboards. And those are just not right. I mean, here's a photo of Carrie Underwood. Molly has told producers that she considers her the ideal of what is beauty. Here's another photo of Carrie Underwood that she posted on social media with absolutely no makeup on. Completely different look, right? It's still the same person, but she doesn't care. She just puts it up there. Here's another. This is a picture of Jennifer Lopez, a famous woman who Molly considers as the ideal model of what is beautiful. And then here's another photo of J-Lo that she posted on social media on No Makeup Day. If they can do it, you can do it, right?
Great.
All right. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today, including actor Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones, who sat down with me for an interview on my podcast series, Fill in the Blanks. Are we rolling?
Rolling, rolling, rolling. I'm a huge fan of your show.
I know all of you in my podcast family are going to want to watch this interview, not because of me, but because of Sophie. So what you need to do is just go to YouTube, search Dr. Phil. It'll take you to the channel, and right there you can see this entire interview. You're sitting here with Dr. Phil, and you can ask anything you want to ask.
Oh, my God. I have so many things I want to ask.
Check out the full podcast interview, which is available now. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. The final season of Game of Thrones, you can catch up or rewatch all 7 seasons on HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO On Demand, and partner streaming platforms. You can stay up to date with Game of Thrones coverage on EW.com, as well as Entertainment Weekly's Game of Thrones Weekly Podcast. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.